right, let's get it cooking. Good afternoon. We'll call together the board meeting for the Juvenile Service Center. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Ross?
Present.
Commissioner Jackson? Here. Commissioner Hill?
Here.
Commissioner Lee? Here. Commissioner Day?
Here. All right, thank you very much. Any amendments to today's agenda? I have one, and that's item number 5 is going to move to October. I gave you guys a preview of that last month. I just got some additional changes from DCS, so I'm going to make that adjustment. I'll just bring that. I might send it out to everybody in advance, but it's going to go to October. Any other amendments? All right, entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved. Second.
Commissioner Hill on the first, Commissioner Lee on the second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say no. The ayes have it. Is there anybody here for public forum? No one signed up, so we'll move on from that. And move to update from Chief Administrator, Mr. Bivens. Your report. You have the floor.
First, I want to introduce my new captain and lieutenant. They've been doing an outstanding job. Captain Dwyer Hewitt and my lieutenant is Corey Dyer. They're working nonstop. I think last week they worked 80 plus hours apiece. And they're become fast, effective leaders in the organization. They're making some significant differences for me, so I appreciate what they're doing.
Are you Corey? And
Welcome.
yes.
Thank you for your hard work.
I got to slow them down a little bit. Nothing really significant other than the staffing issues. There's an attachment on what my board. You'll see the spreadsheet for all the vacancies we currently have. And it shows the hire dates for when I could possibly fill those positions. Due to the buyouts, I can't just immediately hire someone once they leave. There's folks that have left and won't be able to fill their positions until next calendar year. That's a huge issue for us because I anticipate a few more folks leaving. With currently 11 vacancies, for these too many more, we're going to have to continue to reduce our population there. Already talked to DCS about it today. We have 30 juveniles, 13 are DCS kids. Temporarily put on hold, accepting any new ones right now, based on our staffing ratios that DCS requires us to have.
Does the C-test study that is coming out have some sort of analysis of what is the appropriate staffing level for X number of kids? Nobody's been ever able to answer that of like, what, just because we've had the system doesn't mean that we should or could or what. Is that part of their analysis?
Yeah, he's done a complete staffing analysis for all of us.
Yeah, it's probably a complicated thing to figure out because if you had 2 kids in here, you still have to have a minimum number of, personnel to run it 7 days a week.
The magic number for me is 9. So if there's 9 kids in the housing unit, that means I have to have not 1 officer, but 2 officers.
So 1 officer per 4.5 kids.
1 per 8.
1 per 8.
Do you always have to have one in each sex?
Yes. We do have 1 female housing unit that stays at a pretty low number. It's usually we can work with 3 to 5, but I've never seen it go over 8.
That requires to always have at least 1 female officer on duty.
Yes. We may, even if we don't have a female house there, we may get one, that 8-hour shift. Never know. So, we make sure that we always have at least 1, and that's been a challenge too.
Is 1 on the 8-hour shift or the 24-hour shift? 1 female, if they're female.
It would be 1 for each 8-hour shift.
With each.
Chief, what's the minimum age that would come here?
12. The kids that come at 11, is that correct?
Requires court's permission to be younger than 12. And sometimes we give it, sometimes 11-year-olds done something so dangerous that we got to put them in here for a little bit, they don't stay long. But it's usually like a murder or attempted murder or something to that effect.
Where would they go if they're only here shortly? Where would an 11-year-old go?
Sometimes to treatment centers, sometimes back home with some precautions, sometimes to another family member's household where they're separated from the sibling they might have shot, that type of thing. So yeah, it's all different solutions, there's not one. Yeah, it's less than 12, I'm supposed to be getting a call.
Thank you.
All right. You said that it's, this very first bullet about, back to staffing, since you've changed the schedule, you're changing to a more regular pattern instead of the large weekend, shift, right? Correct. You said you 3 have resigned as a result of going to a more modern shift.
Yeah, probably at least 80%, if not higher. The staff previously were off on Saturdays and Sundays. You cannot run a correctional facility that way. You've got to have appropriate staff. Some days there will be 3 or 4 people on the entire shift. And apparently that's been that way for a while. And I had to correct that. That's very dangerous.
And what is the shift pattern now?
It's basically, you try to spread it out, especially on first and second shift, have the same number. The goal would be to have at least 12 people there per day, or per shift. And then night shift, you can do it with a lot less because the kids are in their cells. Makes it a whole lot easier. So it's 8 on the evenings.
And then are staff now working,
Rotating days.
you're rotating that schedule all the time, so they're 2 days off, might be Monday, Tuesday, 1 week, or how's that working?
Currently, they're set days off. I'm still exploring other options for them to try to make it work better, but I had to make that change. The other issue that I ran into was medical, having issues on evening shift, night shift. The last week, we had to send at least 2 juveniles to the hospital for very significant issues. That, according to DCS, talking to them today, that's an issue for them as well. Just imagine if 2 kids get in a fight, somebody gets hit in the head, or if they fall off the line and hit their head, they should be getting checked out for concussion, or if they fall and their arm hurts, maybe x-rays, things of that nature. So that's also a concern of mine.
In an incident like that, like say somebody falls off the one, hits their head or breaks an arm, does an ambulance come or do we transport?
Yeah, we have no vehicle there, so it's ambulance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
During the day, light hours, we have officers here that sometimes transport upon request. Most of the time it involves an ambulance.
What is it? I guess we'll have a report of the health department to talk more about nursing coverage and things like that. Okay, all right, we'll keep going with your report. What do you want to go over next year?
I'm not going to bore you with some of the smaller things. We're still trying to establish partnerships through the community. So reached out to several folks. One that's not on here is the Metro Drug Coalition. That they're going to be coming in and doing a lot more support for us. I won't steal Don Ross McNabb's thunder and what they're doing for me, but it's tremendous. I'll just say that. That's not it.
The CTAS report, we're going to add that to the October agenda, correct? Okay.
Should have it by no later than the second week, so it gives us at least 2 weeks to absorb it.
Okay. All right, anybody have any questions for Mr. Vivens during this segment?
So if I may,
Yeah.
on exploring expanding medical coverage, is that a matter of just making sure officers have a certain level of training, or does that actually mean we need to have a medically trained person?
The training we've already talked about for the staff, it definitely needs to happen regardless. But as far as I'm not going to evening shift, you have an entire med pass that corrections officers at some point down the road, perhaps, somebody, LPN wants a part-time job, come in like two hours in the evenings. You know, that's a possibility. You know, somebody that's more proficient at that, and then if there's a situation, they can also check somebody in the evenings as well. There's a lot of sick kids in that facility, a lot of sick kids.
I thought we had, so we don't have a nurse on site anymore at all?
Yeah.
We do.
Monday through Friday, 8 to 4.
Okay, so it's daytime is covered, but it's the nighttime that's not.
The weekends.
Sounds
And the weekends are not covered.
And we also have a lapse. Like this happened, and I'm aware of it, and I was able to help out, to call DCS. We have a kid brought in from Flow Creek, for example, that's gone so violent, they've had to call, they've had to be put in detention from Flow Creek. And they send the kid and don't send the medicine, it causes a real problem. So we gotta make sure we get the medicines with the kid. Yeah. And I think we had to straighten one of those situations out this week. We had to call and say, hey, let's get the medicine over here. And I think they did. I think they got it here now. But it's just communication between our partners. We gotta have the medicine when we get the kid, so. And Flow Creek, you know, they're a treatment place, so they should know that. It still didn't get done.
Any other questions for?
You have here, you have mentioned that, you know, you'll be hiring over time. You say here that there are 5 open positions due to the prior administration buyouts. And then it says 1 cook position and then 6 officer positions. Is that 5 plus 1 plus 6?
It's really 5 plus 6, so there's 11 officer positions, 1 cook.
So there's 11 officer positions. And we're able to currently hire only 1 right now. Is that because of Knox County Finance?
So I'll have to get some clarification from the HR department, but there's at least in either the old system or the current system, there's sort of no cap on vacation, sick days that weren't used. And so when somebody leaves or gets left, there's a huge buyout amount of, okay, here's the time that unused pay or unused time that has to be compensated. But that eats into, you know, there's only the same annual budget. And so when so many people leave in so short amount of time, it eats up the payroll budget to a point where now the finance department is sort of throttled. You can't refill the bucket until we have more bucket to fill from a cash flow perspective, is my understanding. So I do believe that they're in the process, they've either already changed that policy, they're in the process of trying to change it where you can't have continuous unused vacation forever and ever and ever, just accrue. But when you've had people that have been here 10, 20, 30, 40 years and have, at least on the books, never taken a vacation day, then all that money gets sucked up out of the system really fast. So I think they've changed the policy going forward, but for a long, long time, Knox County, like if you quote unquote never took a vacation day, then that just rolls over and gets banked and you get paid with a big lump sum when you leave. So I'm asking Stephanie Candler from HR to come to the next meeting to kind of help us better understand that, but
I'll talk to Chris about that. Yeah. County-wise, that's just an unfunded liability that accrues over time, you know. I mean, I'll talk to Chris about that.
So is that the situation with these that can't be filled?
Yes. It's like the cook who has not been there that long that resigned. We can't hire for her position until the end of October.
So theoretically, if the entire staff quit today, we wouldn't be able to hire anybody for several months because of their unpaid leave, having to pay their leave.
Unfortunately, you're correct.
so it's a matter of, management of capital plus Knox County, I think in June or July, put a hiring freeze on literally the entire county until, I think almost December.
It was a 6-month.
Yeah, so, there's a lot of cash flow issues going on. So,
That needs to be fixed.
yeah. All right, let's move on.
Let me point out in his defense, the
Yeah,
same
no,
thing
no.
happens On the juvenile court side, I have my court director back there that does my finance side of Garrett's in there. Same thing happens to us. We can't hire somebody for 2, 3 months, 4 months sometimes because their benefits have to be paid out. It's not anything he's done wrong, it's a situation he's inherited.
We know that.
And this situation is more graphic and worse because of the length of time some of these folks, 40, 51 years, 40-something years, and there were still people that had retired before he even got here that can't be filled. And it's just a lot of change at once. More than
That policy
anticipated.
that allows that.
Yeah, that's a
liability to
tough,
grow.
Yeah, it's a tough, if there's not a cap on it,
Yeah.
this is what you run into, and it's hitting us all at once. But I'm concerned if we lose any more, and we're probably going to, I'm concerned we may have to do something on an emergency basis for a month or 2.
Yeah, well, I think that's what they're also talking about now, is like, how do we change the policy? So you award employees, you know, vacation days that are accrued, but you have to use them in a certain time period, you know? And which is, from an HR perspective, is healthy, you want people to take time off, you want to take a break, but from a funding liability standpoint, you don't want, you know, like every 2 years or every year, you should have to either take your vacation or lose it and not build up 10 years of liability.
Yeah.
Maybe they
There
have
needs
to
be
build
a cap on
a
that.
certain percentage of the bank
Yeah.
that you've gotten at this point, because you can't just, I mean, you lose it all.
So this may have opened up another.
Yeah, we'll talk about that
Yeah.
another time.
Yeah.
But that goes, I mean, like, if you're running a business and you're like, hey, I can't hire a salesperson until the other salesperson's, you know, benefits run out, I mean,
Yeah.
that makes no sense.
But we don't think it's anybody's fault. It's not,
Oh,
yeah.
no. But
Just imagine a
it-
football coach.
so there's no provision for
Where's buyouts?
critical need or anything like that? I mean, you cannot be left in the position where you can't hire, where you can't staff when our judges sent them. I mean,
And found it, it becomes life safety issues.
I do think it's, maybe after the meeting, we can talk about,
Yes.
like, we sending something to the finance committee to say, or the finance department to say, please help us better understand this and what are the resources available.
Yeah,
So I think
yeah,
that this
I
board
agree.
could get some more information from finance,
Well,
for sure.
this might be a silly question, Judge, and you may be the best to answer this. Is there a time period throughout the year where there are more juveniles in this? Okay. Like, when is that? Like,
2 weeks after school starts back, our numbers increase dramatically somehow.
now, okay.
Really? I would have thought like
Between-
summer
I
when there's
would've
like
too.
nothing to do, but to get in trouble.
No, because they gonna get told on all the different affiliations speak back up. In the summertime, there's no one to tell them anything they're doing. The schools tell everything. And they also come back together after a summer apart and things heat up different. It's school for sure. It's our busiest time of year,
Okay.
100%.
If I could ask, what would happen if we were totally understaffed? What is the emergency plan? Is it
Try to get rid of as many juveniles as possible. Like I said, DCS kids,
Which also hurts your bottom line because you get paid to keep state kids. If you don't have enough staff to keep them, you're not getting that extra revenue that you get
Would have to
to
transfer to one of those other county facilities, so.
and have to pay them for our kids.
And it goes from bad to worse.
Yeah. But the idea of having a plan was clearly never in the process. So,
Yeah.
so that's what we're working on. Okay. Speaking of plans, thank you, Mr. Bennett. We'll keep the dialogue open. But I want to invite our team from the Knox County Health Department to join us and talk about their work and jumping in and being part of the team. If you would just give your name and your department.
My name is Ashley Ellis. I'm the Director of Nursing over at the Knox County Health Department. I wanted to give a quick review of what we've been doing over at the detention center. On July 1st, we came in. We started providing nursing coverage. We rotated 14 nursing staff members from across our health department to the facility. Our focus was to build clinical foundation and hopefully streamline some care. The first thing that we did was establish protocols, nursing protocols. There are 15 current comprehensive nursing protocols that address over 40 specific conditions or situations. Some of those would be choking or head injury or dental pain, ear infections, skin infections, and a myriad of other conditions. Those protocols have undergone continuous review. We update those as needed, working with the facility physician on those. We have been able to upgrade the nursing unit itself, getting upgraded supplies, upgraded equipment, most recently an upgraded locking cabinet for record retention. We worked on addressing medication count concerns by implementing a daily pill count for all medications. We've created or updated functional forms such as the physician exam form, blood pressure log, verbal order form, a specialized diet form, or refill requests. We reorganized and updated the medication room to improve workflow, privacy, and client safety. We implemented a secure way for records or sick call requests to be shared between the detention staff and the nursing staff. We, we were able to get the facility nurse access to the Tennessee Department of Health lab portal, as well as the TENNIS, which is the immunization database for the state. So she has access to both of those. We have been able to collaborate with DCS and have built some strong contacts within the DCS system, which have been very useful when we've had to reach out to those for needs for the kids. We have been a part of hundreds of medical communications related to dental and specialty referrals, refills, mental health needs, getting previous records, coordination with DCS, court workers, parents. We perform nursing assessments for a wide variety of complaints. A few of those being headache, ear pain, stomach pain, anxiety, sore throat, minor injuries, using, of course, our nursing protocols and or direct physician consultation. We've been able to support over 92 physician visits since we came in July and have streamlined those operations regarding those visits just a bit. We continue to work with the facility nurse, the facility physician, facility administration to refine protocols, updating processes, trying to just make improvements as we go. I am continuing to have on-site presence once a week or even more as needed. And the facility nurse can continue to reach out to me whenever she needs to. She has multiple ways to get a hold of me if there were questions or concerns.
A couple of quick questions. Thank you for the presentation. Are all the things that you all are implementing and supporting supported out of the current health department budget?
You mean as far as purchasing, supplies, and
Staffing
things
and all
like
that
that?
stuff, yeah. Supplies, staffing, visits.
It's the supplies have been out of Knox County Health Department budget. As far as nursing, when they are here, they are being paid out of the health department budget.
Wait, the juvenile detention facility budget or the health department?
The health department for health department nurses.
Okay.
The facility nurse to the detention center.
And then you've heard the concern about not having the night coverage. Is that something you all have looked into and figured out if there's a way to address that for somebody to come in kind of towards the end of the night for a few hours? It sounds like.
That has been brought up, especially here recently. But that's obviously a bigger discussion. It's something, especially with future planning that we've really got to delve into. Find some long-term solutions.
So it's on the radar.
It's on the radar.
Okay. All right. Questions from our board?
Thank you.
Any other things you want to, any sort of major concerns you see right now, or are you all picking away at the list and kind of tackling it as best you can?
We are working on one thing at a time, trying to make those changes and hopefully, like I said, just get it better for not only the youth, but for those who are practicing.
This is a lot.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it. All right, moving on in our agenda, we have invited the team from McNabb Center to join us to talk about their role at the facility and what they've learned. Go for it, come on up, come on down there.
Hello. I'm Mona Blanton, yes, the CEO of McNabb, for those who I haven't met before, but it's good to see everybody.
I'm Mary Katsikis. I'm the Executive Vice President of McNabb Center.
So I'm going to give kind of just an overview, I think, of how we got here, and then Mary's going to give you a lot of details about what's really happening, and then kind of our thoughts moving forward. But I came and met with Chief Bivens and talked about, the needs, specifically mental health needs, and and how we can be helpful. And really, for the McNabb Center, we really believe that first and foremost, we are a community mental health center, and it's our job to respond to community needs. So what we did, big picture, is we have a grant right now from the Department of Mental Health. It's called the Tennessee Resiliency Project Grant. That's what's gotten us in there. So we just took those funds, made some changes. I contacted the commissioner and said, hey, we want to focus a lot of our time in the detention facility. It's all good. So that's how we're there as far as paying for it in this moment. What we believe is that any time a child is removed from their home, anytime there's a placement outside of the home, that there is trauma, and we already know with these kids in detention, there's been years and years of trauma, therefore needing mental health needs. So we run other facilities. So we have a facility called Gateway, we have a facility here just right down the road that are residential programming. So after talking to Chief Bivens, kind of had some ideas about what a program would look like. That's kind of for the future. But right now, we are there every single day, and I think over 50 hours a week. Is that right? So I'm gonna let Mary tell you exactly what we have been doing as the kids come in.
Yeah, so we have dedicated about 50 hours a week of our staff time, and that's a culmination of a couple of different staff, but we typically have one staff on site starting every morning, 5 days a week. In the last 2.5 weeks, we've seen about 22 kids that have come in. Our concentration in coordination with Chief Bivens, our concentration right now is new admissions, screening them, assessing them, determining what their needs are, seeing if they're already connected to services. If they're not connected to services, we're getting them connected to services. We're also getting the parents' consent on that front end before we have a lot of interaction with them. And then just determining where they need to go from there. We're also doing a lot of medication appointments. I think we've seen 8 kids in the detention center that have needed medication. There's some therapy that's happening, and I know we've also been a huge support around some crisis situations that have been a little abnormal, not necessarily suicidal, homicidal type of situations, but even behavior modification. We've been called in to kind of help with situations like that, and also doing some risk assessments. So our assessments are pretty thorough. We can do a risk assessment. We can also do your general outpatient mental health type of assessment that's more psychosocial. And then we have an assessment that can really concentrate on drug and alcohol or substance use needs.
Do you have an additional person that answers mobile crisis calls? Or is it somebody that's your normal people that are there that are handling that?
Normal.
So your 2 people per week that are sharing that time, they're handling whatever the mobile crisis part too.
We will call mobile crisis in if we absolutely needed to, because they have some other.
I don't think I'm getting my question across. Are the same 2 people?
Our mobile crisis unit, no.
Okay, mobile crisis, they'll help make decisions to call them or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what I was wondering. All right, thank you.
So when you think about the people that are in there now are counselors, professional counselors, and then psychiatric APM that comes in to provide the mental health medications and assessments that needs that.
And to speak to Mona's point, we obviously know that these kids have suffered from some kind of traumatic event of some sort and probably multiple traumas. So, and we are finding through that assessment and screening process that mental health services are definitely needed based on history. So we're excited to be partnering. Again, this is a population that we have worked with for several years, since 1993. We've provided specialty services either in the community or through the court system, and several detention centers. So we feel like we can be of value in this shift. And like Mona said, we want to respond to the community need. We want to be part of the movement and the help and assisting.
This is the first time you've ever been in our detention though, on a regular basis?
On a regular basis.
On a regular
Yeah.
basis, yes.
We've been, when we've been called in crisis situations and sent people over, even our, medical teams, but not like this.
How long does that grant funding last before you can't come back?
Well, what we had agreed to do was during this interim to continue through the interim 6-month period. Is that what that was? Yeah. And then, and at the same time, so the other thing that I talked with the mayor about and talked with Chief Bivens about is during this time is really to do an assessment. So in addition to the direct service. So we feel like with the direct service under control and really pulling people, seeing the kids as they come in first to take care of the new kids before they actually are out in, what do y'all call it, population?
General population.
Yeah, out before anything happens. So do a thorough assessment on the new kids coming in. And then do the thorough assessment on the existing kids and start providing services. But in addition to that, what we're trying also is just doing an overall assessment about what does it look like moving forward. What does the mental health component look like moving forward? What does our Knox County Detention Facility look like moving forward? So while we're doing that here in Knoxville, we are also have looked over the last few months across the country at best practices. And so that's the other thing that I think we had talked about and said that we will have that, a report to you all within the first 3 months and be able to come back and say, here's recommendations.
And the TRP grant that Mona referenced that we kind of pulled some staff off of to dedicate here, that TRP grant really serves 16 counties. So it serves Region 2, if you kind of think about the reach it has. So we're in several different detention centers when they need us. So the question of when will it end, we have to kind of balance all that out. To make
When
sure
do you think you'll have the recommendations of sort of, okay, we've done our analysis, is that, I'm just looking for agenda purposes and
Yeah.
housekeeping, is that October, November?
Yeah, we can have, we're almost finished. So
Okay,
this
so
entire
October.
team, yeah. we
Okay,
can-
I'm gonna put you on the October agenda.
So would you all reapply for more funding at the end of the term now? Can you, is it a
For the
possibility that the sheriff
resiliency
takes
project?
over? Right.
Yes, if there's funding out there, then we would. I just don't know that grant will continue through the Department of Mental Health.
Mr. Bivens, what kind of impact have you seen with the kids before, because you saw before they were able to come in now?
I think a lot of the incidents have reduced, so that helps out tremendously. The goal is, once we get some more data on the assessments, the screenings, then we can see what those numbers look like and determine what programming we need to put with those numbers.
I got a question. So Dr. Bly's back with a lot, with her people. She's got, I think, 6 now? 7. And you got 2 there. And then mobile crisis is called if we need them. Who makes the decision as who's doing what? You all, and Isla Gray's over here too in the building, and she's part of you all. Who makes the decision who's doing what? How do y'all decide that amongst all of you?
I don't know about what Marie's people are doing, but
Yeah.
I mean, ours is, Iowa would only respond to us. Of
Oh, I know that.
Mobile crisis.
I know, but I mean-
We would call mobile crisis.
She's got her graduate students over here helping doing assessments and stuff too. I mean, who makes the call? Who's doing what on a daily basis? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so I think one of the things we're still kind of coordinating, Chief Bivens, I think you were gonna pull us all together to kind of see what each other we're doing. I think the biggest difference between the McNabb Center and anything else that's provided is the central part of discharging and always pre-planning once a kid comes into the detention center. What does that look like long-term upon release? So that's a very different service array than an assessment or, some of those other pieces.
Well, I would think the medication part would be invaluable.
Well, that's part of it.
That's something your people can't do, right? Is the medication.
And we have talked with Chief Bivens about getting a meeting with the school system too,
Yeah.
with Heather. So there's a coordination continuum of care.
Yeah, that's great.
Right now.
And
I'm not saying anybody's doing
Yeah.
anything wrong. I'm just saying, how do you figure out who's doing what?
I think it's a good question.
Yeah.
I think
And
that-
also duplicate of services and chain of command, or decision-making, processes and
Absolutely.
policies.
We got a lot of good people here now with a lot of experience. I'm very excited about it for our kids.
The other thing I failed to mention, I know that we've also been talking to Chief Bivens about what does kind of the after-school time look like when there's a little bit more downtime within the facility, and we're kind of talking about what that process looks like and how we can play a vital role in that. So we've talked about groups, implementing some kind of group that's therapeutic intervention type group that would be skills building. sometime after that period of time after school. So
Yes.
we're still kind of working those formalities out.
Yeah, the ideal behind it all, it really, for us, from our perspective, is that we have these kids captured, right? And any moment or any minute that they're not receiving some type of service, that's a loss. And so being able, from the minute they walk in, from every single day that they are there, building a program that provides mental health services. Right now in general population non detention in the public, 1 in 5 adolescents have a mental health issue. We know 100% of the kids in detention do. There's no question. And so the idea is, of course, individual therapy. The idea, of course, or recommendations will be psychiatric intervention, but then also creating a program that functions daily, that provides the case management piece, the pre-discharge piece, the group piece, and then separate. Think about that as clinical, for the clinical needs of the kids coming into detention. In addition to that, and right now I think is what, well, I don't know what we're running, but it's probably through what you guys are calling it as far as your officers that come in. But in addition to that, there has to be a behavior management system. And so then being able to assess and then create and develop a behavior management system that controls and helps reinforce positive behaviors for the kids. Those are two different things. So mental health services and behavior management system. Done by one entity, can be done by one entity. We do that in all of our programs. But I do think it's important that we talk about that. Once you have that system in place, then hopefully the staffing needs that you're talking about aren't as critical, because you have a system that is running, that is reinforcing positive behaviors, and you don't need as much of the more security type issues.
Are these programs designed for when they are released too? And how do you follow through with having?
Yeah, so that would be, so ideally, and as we bring in models for you to look at, but yes, so there would be clinicians that are dedicated specifically to discharge planning, and then follow through with families, follow through to the community that they are going with, to ensure that they don't leave our detention facility without follow-up appointments, outpatient appointments, and even case management and what we would call home-based services.
And the essential piece is involving the family. So even prior to discharge from the facility, depending on how long they're staying, what that length of stay looks like, you want to make sure that you're getting every entity involved to prepare for that discharge. So a very therapeutic approach to reintegrating.
Other questions?
So we learned last month that sometimes the children's attorneys will not allow, the risk assessment and is that a common issue that you're dealing with?
It goes back and forth. I think we actually had one that we attempted to do an assessment on that's currently, I believe, in detention, and the attorney wouldn't allow us to do it. Didn't want us talking to us.
So that happened, that's not just
And are
happening.
these risk assessments, I guess, evidence? Can we use?
I'm not sure exactly how they use them, but I think there's some
That's what
concern
they're-
around.
Let me
Yeah.
speak to that.
Okay.
Before adjudication, the defense attorney drives that ship. They get to pick, because there's questions that might be asked that could be damning in those assessments. And when they get to court and have their trial, I can't make that decision for the defense attorney, so they make that call. Once there's been an adjudication of guilt, maybe we're in between adjudication and disposition, then I can decide, oh no, have this assessment. But that's the way it works. That's the way it works everywhere. And some attorneys say, hey, we got nothing to hide. I really want my kid to have the assessment. They make the decisions all over the place, not just with Helen Ross McNabb, but with Dr. Bly's assist workers too. Sometimes they let us, sometimes they don't. And I would like for every kid to have a safety assessment before they go back there. But we don't get that. We don't get that opportunity because of the constitutional rights that they have. Did I frame that correctly, General?
Yes, you did, Your Honor.
Yeah. I'd like them all to have an assessment, but we have to wait until.
Other questions for Ms. Dapper? Yeah, for sure.
Is there an average time that they're held before they're adjudicated?
No. I mean, there is, but it's all over the board. Again, if you have a child that's accused of a very heinous act of murder, then we know they're likely to be transferred to be tried as an adult. And one of the tenets of a transfer is, are they committable to an institution for the insane or the intellectually disabled? And so we have to have them studied to make that. And guess what? I don't get to pick who studies them. Their defense attorneys contract with those people and do it all. And then once they have that information, the prosecution can also have them studied. So by the time you get all these studies done, it can be 9 months to a year back there for the most serious offenders. Your average offender that had a bad weekend one time in their life, they're out Monday morning, so they're only in there for a day or two. So it's a really tough population for the superintendent and his staff to manage. You want to get them social service, but it's hard to get social services in and assessments in for somebody that's only here
Yeah, for sure.
5 hours or 24 hours, and then the ones that are here for 9 months to a year waiting on a trial. And the holdup's not with the Attorney General. The holdup is with getting them studied and getting the mental health part done. It always is the holdup.
So Mona, how much per month does this program cost? Your services that you're bringing in
Right
right
now,
now?
today, what we're providing, 50 hours a week.
But I'm looking for, yeah.
One, 2
People, so what we're doing right now is just interim, and it wouldn't be our recommendation to continue like this. It's probably like 150,000 a year, annual.
A
Yeah.
year, so,
10, 12,000.
Yeah,
about
yeah.
10, 12.
Mhm.
So if something like this were to hopefully continue with you all,
Mhm.
that's a rough amount of what it would cost.
To provide the services that we're providing right now, which I would say are pretty minimal.
Minimal.
I mean, if this is an opportunity to really change what our detention facility looks like, then we need to really take that opportunity.
I would say when you combine what you two are doing, what I was doing, what Dr. Bly and her 6 interns are doing, I would put our services to children up against the other detention facilities in this state based on what I know about it, and put us being way ahead right now. It may not be what you would like to have, but it's way ahead of the actual what's out there in the other cities right now. I promise you it's way ahead. Yeah, way ahead.
Well, we'll look forward to hearing your assessment and recommendations at our October meeting and continuing to work. And you talked about you're convening a meeting soon between all of these partners to talk about how do they all work together and not overlap and step on each other's toes and things.
Yep.
Okay, do you expect that to happen next, like, in the coming month, or is it set?
Depends on everyone's schedule.
Okay. Sooner than later, so,
I
okay.
think she was gonna try to facilitate that.
Okay, okay. Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thanks a lot.
All right, is there any other new business to come before the board? And this is about the same time where I always ask, are there items on future agendas that you want to see? One that I emailed out today was data that was provided to us about, we've always asked how many juveniles do we have in facility for what and how long do they stay? We got the first batch of information that was emailed to you all. That is sort of an assessment. I think there's more data in the computer system, but hasn't, either we didn't go back far enough or you're still trying to figure out how to get the whole thing, right?
Well, it's actually there.
Can you come up and just tell everybody who you are for the record, sorry?
Heidi Garrett and juvenile court, as court director. There's all kinds of data that's already available out there in our court system. And a lot of the reports that is generated out of that I've already given to Mr. Hart. And he's with CTAP. So he has all that, so I don't want to step on what all he's doing. But that information is there. What I sent out to you just the other day was just a list of all children that had been detained in FY25 and what their offenses were. And that's in an Excel spreadsheet, which you can, change around.
Did you also have
sort
the
it.
length of stay as well?
I do have a report that has it, it's not in the one that you
Okay.
got. All that I did give to Mr. Hart too.
Okay, good.
So he's got length of stay, he's got, the children that were DCS children that were held. He has a list of, the out of county, and then he's got a list of the local children.
Yeah, and that was so important for all of our discussions to kind of, how many are Knox County children, how many are DC from somewhere in the state, or how many from other counties, what are the lengths of stay, and ultimately we want to try to build a model of understanding the census of, we have a facility that has a capacity of 120. Some days we have 8, some days we have 30, some days we have, we can't ever get anybody to tell us if we've ever had more than 50 in-house before. And that's gonna lead, that data is crucial.
I think in my 20 years, I can remember hitting the 40s, but not 50,
Not
maybe,
40s,
I don't
yeah.
think so.
37, 40, maybe that would be kind of the top. I think we had like 37 not too long ago, didn't we?
Yeah.
So that's why we were saying that it has jumped up, of course, with school starting, so.
Yeah.
Because prior to that, we were like at 20, 23, 24. and then
In the
just-
middle of the teens.
Mhm.
And I'm calling our partners, the department, and I'm calling the commissioner and saying, look, this child's been here 55 days. This is not a placement. This is a temporary holding facility. Get them out. Don't say it to her just like that. I say,
Sometimes you do.
I say it in text like that.
Well, I do think that.
We're working on
Yeah.
keeping, we know we're short-staffed and we're
Yeah.
trying to keep the population. We have a very difficult medical situation. And we were able to resolve it with an ankle monitor, which we felt protected the community and got a very difficult kid, medically fragile kid, who was involved in some serious stuff. We were able to get him out because, quite frankly, we didn't have the facilities to take care of a child that was that sick. And I wanted him out with an ankle monitor rather than dying in our detention. So he comes to me with those problems and we make adjustments in how we do things. What you gotta do. We have to work with DCS, with the superintendent, and with all our partners, law enforcement, the attorney general, the public defender. We've all got to work for the betterment of these kids together, or the system really breaks down. So we have to work very hard at overcoming our current short staffing situation.
Yeah, and there's a lot of reports out there where they separate the out-of-county from the state DCS children, which is used for the invoicing that is done by detention when those children are.
If we're fully staffed, we could actually house more of those kids and make more money to pay more staff.
Yeah, I mean, I really appreciate the data. I'm really looking forward to the CTAS report to digest that data. It will really help us understand because we are kind of at a critical point with this board. We said July, August, September, we're gonna bring in partners, we're gonna give a lot of opportunity to hit the reset button, we're gonna be supportive of staffing models. By the time we get to October, we're gonna need to start shifting our discussions about what does the future of this look like, what does it look like under the sheriff, and what does it look like for partners and facilities, and that's kind of leading, the next step is probably the most crucial step for the future. I think all that we've done, I would argue that we all are commending all of you for all of your hard work on an hourly basis to kind of come together. Probably more has been done to help support juveniles and families in this facility in the last 3 months than has been done in quite a long time. So we're getting there. That's all I'm trying to say is
The attitude, by all reports, the attitude of the detainees has vastly improved. The kids are smiling. Some of them are trying to negotiate staying there and not going to the Department of Children's Services, which they can't do, but they're trying to. But we've got some getting to know each other problems that we're working on, and we've also got still a relatively new computer system for them. It's like it's new for us.
Yeah.
So we're all those things together, but I'm very pleased with the effort. I'm not 100% sold on the results, but I'm pleased with the effort that is being made. I want us to be fully staffed to be the best in the state, but I think we're making steps in that direction is what's important right now. We're getting there slowly. I wish we could have some money to dump in there and hire all these people we need right away, but we got to play by the rules. We understand that.
Yeah. Any other items for the future meetings that you all want me to start working on or put in the hopper?
Well, we only have 3 more meetings
Yeah.
for this board, so, yeah, I don't know, are we going to recommend to all of commission, what we recommend the new board to look like in the makeup, or?
Well, right now, based on what we voted for now to date, this board dissolves at the end of December and it gets turned over to the sheriff. I still think if that course continues, I think it's probably, a good idea for this board to kind of summarize what we've learned, what we hope to see go forward and turn it over, but there will be no board come.
There's no oversight board.
Once it moves to the sheriff, this board goes away. Now, the sheriff could establish its own advisory board or some other, but based on the legal function of what our role and responsibility is, and then that agreement for the sheriff to run it lasts for 18 months, which then at any point, if that doesn't work, it would come back to commission to make a future decision, or if it ended and we wanted to extend it, that would also come back.
Next month's gonna be a big month. You're gonna get your CTAS report and you're gonna get your answer from your sheriff, I understand.
Yes, next month is gonna be a big month.
Yeah.
And I'd like for us to give, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna ask Chief Bivens, are you going to be working at all with the sheriff, or are you totally done once he takes it over?
I have no idea at this point.
It's
It's his decision to make.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
I would
he
look-
could keep you on board though, right?
But I would love to see us give them pass off recommendations. As we move out of here, come December into January.
I think that regardless, we could do that.
Yeah.
We could come up with, 10 things that we're seeing that are positive or still need some, I would sort of break it into things that are positive, keep them moving, things that need to be addressed and, are short term, and then here's some big issues that you gotta deal with down the road and don't ignore those. That, if we were to, but I think we'll get to that, maybe we'll figure out how to facilitate that.
Yeah, it's a heavy lift between now and then.
Yeah.
So with that, okay, sheriff's taking over January. Is he committing the new sheriff to whatever he commits, or can the new sheriff come in and change?
Any sheriff can change anything within their role and responsibility and legal purview, just like any mayor and commission and any judge and whatever. I mean, they do it a certain way until somebody does it some other way differently.
But what I remember, it's a what, not year to year, but
I think it's 18 months.
18
Yeah.
rolling agreement.
Because there's nothing statutorily that requires the sheriff to do juvenile services. So but they could decide this is how we want our staffing model and our shifts, and they can run it a certain way. We're hoping that all the work that this team is putting into it today kind of sets the blueprint, and then it's tweaked. But yeah, a new sheriff could come in and go, I don't want any more than 20 kids, and we're going to staff accordingly, and too bad, so sad. Or we've got all this capacity and facility, and let's reach out to other counties and see if we can be of help. Or
Some counties charge quite a bit more than we do.
Yeah, and I don't know who sets that rate
Our current agreement is not signed. I cannot find a signed contract.
with any other county.
It's a verbal agreement.
So there's lots of opportunity for improvement. As we found out, we don't have a lot to work with. But
Handshake.
One day at a time.
All right.
But I'd like to invite the sheriff. I think it would be good to invite the sheriff or a sheriff's representative for the next 3
For the next
meetings.
3 months. Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. Also, I will ask for some feedback from HR and finance. I'll ask on behalf of the board, if it's okay with you all, to say, please help us better understand staffing issues when it comes to, rolling payouts, what we've been on.
If we could speed up 2 positions, it would be a tremendous help, I would imagine.
Okay.
If you could figure out which 2 are the fastest and speed that up somehow, even 2 slots would help you guys tremendously, would it not?
I think one was this month, and one is, one is,
My big thing, I think, you guys kind of overlooked it.
Here, come up to the podium and introduce yourself, just because it helps us with the folks that are in the audience and with our clerk.
I'm a new lieutenant at the facility.
In your name?
Corey Dow.
Correct.
And
So
Corey,
I-
did you come from KPD?
No, I came from California.
Oh, that's all right, that's all right.
Welcome.
A lot of other people here did, yeah.
Yeah, so I think what it's kind of overlooked is we have staff that's been there for a long time and operating in the old ways. We don't have the ability, because we're so short on staff, to even train the staff that's there and get rid of that old muscle memory. So we're fighting like, there's just no way for us to get any training out there unless we gain some staff or relieve staff to train them, and then, because we're just kind of repeating the same things that we've been fighting. So I think that's a real important thing to think about.
All the staff are required to do 40 hours of in-service. They have not done that. So it's going to be very difficult to pull that off with our current situation. Developed a classroom, training classroom, we're ready to go, we're putting the curriculum together, but pulling 4 or 5 people off the shift is extremely difficult.
All right, I will ask, on behalf of the board, the finance team and the HR team to give us some feedback on that. And then we'll add all that to our next agenda. Our next meetings will be October 28th and November 13th.
I'd just like to say, the more we're talking about this, the more concerned I am about this handoff. Because it doesn't sound like there's much communication going on right now between you all and the sheriff's department. Is that, and I don't mean that to be negative so much as I mean just it's not there.
There's not been any meetings to discuss the actual specifics.
I think that's what's coming in the next several weeks, is my understanding. Now it's starting.
That will start.
Yeah, because I think everybody, the mayor's office, the sheriff, everybody wanted to give this board and this team, just give them a few months of breathing room before we get into the next. They're so overwhelmed. So I think now we're there.
Well, I hope so. I mean, there's some real basic things here, just what Corey was saying. I mean, surely there's a way, trying to partner with our sheriff's department, that we could give you some relief, so you at least get your officers trained. This, that sort of thing, just people power, if nothing else.
Issues, we would have to train their people to come over here because of the juvenile
Well, the people
standards.
that are here aren't trained. I mean, what you're saying, they're not really trained either, the old folks.
but we wanted to get away from it. That's the problem.
That's why we're here.
I feel what you're saying, but
And I have real concerns about this programming with McNabb too, the fact that, I mean, they're in there doing some good stuff, and to just see that go away, is a little bit discouraging too, so we got a big lift here.
Yes.
What can we do to help you?
Staff.
The staffing, all right.
Okay. We will see you in October. If there are any other issues, please post them to the forum and we'll address them, but I will work on this for the next meeting. And I imagine our next month's meeting will probably be a bit longer, so just plan accordingly. So, all right. With no other business, we are adjourned.